Hi, orchestral excerpt fans. Thanks for checking this out. We're looking at Samuel Goldenberg and Schmuyle from pictures at an exhibition. And this is one of those orchestral trumpet solos that most people find quite challenging. I certainly do. This would be for people who are working on this, and I'm sure some of you out there are going to be able to play this a little bit easier and probably a little bit better than I am. But I want to show you some things in the hope that you'll be able to get some value out of spending time here, and things that might make the job a little bit easier for you. So when I play this, I'll tell you a little secret, and now it's okay because I think the last time I performed this was sometime in the 1980s. So it's been a long time, but I got away with never using a mute on the piccolo trumpet, and it says it's supposed to be muted. So something you want to consider is, of course, there is a mute for the piccolo trumpet. There are many of them, and I have checked them all out and made my choice. I'm not going to buy a new one because I'm not going to play this piece again, probably. And no conductor has ever complained when I played it without using a mute. And part of the issue is it shouldn't sound like a regular trumpet. So the arranger, Ravel, decided that he would have the trumpet be muted. But mostly the trumpets that were available at that time were almost entirely B-flat trumpets. So it's a completely different, a much bigger, heavier sounding instrument than the piccolo trumpet. So I thought, well, you know, the effect is supposed to be, you know, Samuel Goldenberg is in the picture, in Pictures at an Exhibition, is a very wealthy and corpulent, look it up if you don't know what it means, fellow. And Schmuyle is a very skinny and poor fellow. So you have the rich guy and the poor guy is begging, you know, alms for the poor. So it's this small, irritating little voice that's kind of pecking away at this large fellow as he's going down the street, and you get the picture. It's a musical picture. This is programmatic music in a sense. So I'm going to try a couple of things with this, and hopefully some of this will be useful to you. As I said, the first thing I notice is when I play it, I'm playing a melodic line. So even though this is the figure, I'm going to play without a mute first. Get a couple bars rest. Make sure my fourth valve slide is in the right position. Now, of course, you have the second trumpet player playing that in unison with you, so the piccolo trumpet is kind of a color instrument at that point. Now, I played it without a mute. I prefer it that way. If a conductor says put a mute in, wise guy, then of course I have one available, and you'll hear the difference in the sound immediately. You get the idea. It's really not that interesting to listen to without the orchestral context. At least for me it isn't. So there are lots of things going on here. How to practice it. the very first thing I do, I'm going to take the mute out because I find it annoying, is I play the melody. And in order to do that, I'm speeding it up. So at the beginning of the piece, you have Samuel Goldenberg, you know, do da dun dun dee da da dee da da da. I just watched Maltese Falcon last night, and what was his name? Sidney Greenstreet or something like that. Very famous actor from the period, and he was very large, you know, over 300 pounds. That's what I picture with this. And so that's very heavy and slow and kind of, you know, plodding along. And this is very lively, but there's a melody to it. Listen to the melody. For me, that's the structure. That's the kind of like the heart of what's going on here. So if I concentrate on playing the melody, that helps me a lot. Now, what gets in the way? Well, all the articulation, and it's written in a kind of funny way. I used to try and be very meticulous about it and go ta da ta 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 ya. So you play the triplet and then eighth note, triplet, eighth note all the way through. So you're going. And so I tried to go da 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 da, and then I realized nobody does it that way, and it's more difficult, and I'm being too meticulous. Why don't I just do it the same way everybody else does it? So I finally gave in and started going da 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 da, and put the accent on the double grace note. And I think that's the way it was intended, because there's an accent on the grace note. So I was just being dumb, young and dumb, but you know, you do what you can, you do what you think is best. So that's another way I practice it. After I have that sustained sound and it's comfortable and I'm enjoying playing the melody and I'm not physically threatened by it, then I'll add the articulation. And in this case, it's a piccolo trumpet. So most people, when they have trouble with a piccolo trumpet, and I certainly have trouble because I don't really play it enough, they're trying too hard to get more air through the instrument, and it won't take the air, and so it backs up and you end up kind of fighting a little bit. The effect would be something like this if you just play the triplet and eighth note figure. And I would probably practice it like that for quite a while until I got my breathing worked out, which is another really important part of this, of success with this. I didn't manage it very well when I played through, but that's something I would spend a lot of time working on. The main problem that people have is over breathing. So I'll take a big breath, it says double forte, you know, and it's actually something that many of you may not know. The piccolo trumpet is not a very loud instrument because it's a small instrument. But it's a very piercing instrument because the sound that comes out of the instrument is vibrating, you know, with a lot of high overtones in it, around 5,000 hertz. So our ear is very sensitive to that. So it cuts through the orchestra just fine. But most of us are trying to play it, we feel like swallowed up by the sound of the rest of the orchestra and end up working way too hard physically. So you have to kind of trust that sound is going to get out there, and then have some friends who are honest with you go out and listen to see whether the balance is okay. That would be my recommendation. But the main thing is you have to be physically comfortable. Remember, you're not just playing this, you're playing a whole concert, and this is one piece on the concert, and this is one part of the piece. So you just have to be practical about it. Okay, so let's say you got the articulation worked out. Then I might do parts and pieces of it. Now I'm going to do the first grace note. That where I'm not trying so hard, I have my sustain sound and my support, am I carrying the sound with the air all the way through, and I'm not blocking the air too much with the tongue. Once we start adding those extra grace notes, those very quick notes in, things tend to tighten up. Okay, so you get the idea. Go ahead and practice that, and I hope that'll help. Now there are a few controversial things in this. Right, the last beat in the first bar. That's the way it's written, and some people think that's a mistake, so they play. So that's a little controversial. I don't know which one is correct, but most of the time I've played it with a written G sharp, da-da-da-da-da-dee-dum, on the piccolo trumpet, da-da-da-da-da, it'd be A, B. On an A piccolo trumpet, by the way, it makes it much easier to play than B flat. So if you're having trouble, that could be one reason. So that's one spot. Another spot is 3 before rehearsal number 61. The last beat of that bar, it goes like this. Let's see. That's a double sharp. Double F sharp. Most people play it that way, but sometimes you'll hear it. Which is more of a modal kind of sound. Most common way. So those are details, but you need to know that those are both options, and some composers I have written in on my part, Giulini. So he liked the double sharp, and most conductors do like that. So keep that in mind. Okay, now there's one more spot, and then I'll let you go practice, because I'm sure by now you're probably eager to do so. I hope so. You have the kind of flourish before 60. Let me do it with a mute, just so nobody yells at me. So I played it close to literally. Dum, daga daga dum, daga daga da would be the way it's written. Da, daga daga da, daga daga da, and you hear people play it that way, and that's perfectly fine. Sometimes you hear people almost double it, so it sounds like this. And when I've performed it, I've chosen to do it kind of in between those two. So this has kind of this music is meant, I believe, to have kind of a Semitic quality to it. So there's a little gesture here, stylistically. So instead of going dum, daga daga dun, daga daga da, which sounds very strict and kind of dramatic, this should be like a flourish, as I said. So, but I'm not going to play it too fast. I want people to hear the notes. And to me, that's what makes the music work. Oh, I say I lost my background light again. So it's just a floating head. Should have replaced that battery. I think we've done a lot of good work on this. A lot of this is physical. And remember not to fight the horn when you're playing piccolo trumpet. It says double forte, so you may be striving to get that sound, especially when you get to the end and the second trumpet player is playing with you in the lower octave. Really work on getting balance with that second trumpet player. I wish I had a fellow trumpeter here with me today so we could play it together. And you'd find immediately if you do this, it's so much easier playing it with another trumpet player than playing it by yourself, because there's actual physical sonic support from the notes that the lower octave that the other trumpet player is playing. You're getting physical support from that, and you can kind of take your foot off the gas a little bit and let them carry you a little bit, and then you get freer vibration and better projection, and it's great. So I hope some of these things are helpful to you, and that you can eventually have fun playing this and not feel afraid to perform this in concert or in an audition. Go and do your work, enjoy the process, and I'll see you later on. Bye-bye.